Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Chasing the Wind. I'm Pastor Mark. Hey, let's talk about something here that's just kind of been on my mind. It's no secret that we have a little problem in our country of how to communicate with each other, how to agree, to disagree agreeably. And here's what's really sad. This is creeping into the church, people. I see it on Facebook groups, and it just disgusts me to see the attacking that goes on. I probably have gotten caught up in it myself. And, Lord help me. Here, recently, though, I've even experienced a little bit of this myself where I was accused of something, but no one wants to tell you what you did. Now, you know what? I'm going to I hope you can pass this on. Here's how this is supposed to work, folks. If you're worshiping, you're serving the Lord, and you find out that someone has something against you, and you know what? I had this very bizarre thing happen one time in a church that I was pastoring, and I'd gone there to this church, and this person comes up to me and says, so-and-so thinks you're upset with them. And I looked at him kind of funny. And this person was so proud of themselves that they had told me this. And I said, interesting. And the person had just walked by me and, give me a hug, and it was great. And I'm like, well, that was odd. And so I walked into the church office, and I didn't know that the church secretary was sitting there. I said, well, that was odd. And I didn't realize she was there when I said it. And she goes, what? And I said, so I told her, well, someone just come up and told me that someone was upset with me. And I said, I don't understand why they did that. She goes, oh, well, that was a system we put in place. If someone didn't feel comfortable telling the pastor they thought he was upset with them. I said, well, that's going to stop right now. I said, because that isn't how we're supposed to be operating as a church, as believers. So here's the deal. If you know someone has something, they're upset with you or has something against you, you're supposed to go to that person and say, what's up? This is the Hanson Loose translation, by the way, the HLT from Matthew chapter 5. Leave your offering and go to that person and say, is there something wrong here? Now, this business of playing games, this passive-aggressive stuff, that's got to stop too. You know what you did, Pastor. Look, I ain't married to you. You might do that with your spouse, but you ain't doing it with me. That's just all there is to it. You can't tell me what the problem is, then there isn't a problem. Okay? Pastor, that's not very nice. No, it's honest is what it is, because we're supposed to speak the truth in love. So, Brother Mark's speaking the truth in love to you, Christian. If you know someone's, maybe they're upset, okay, then go. But you know what? You don't put these systems in place. Well, I'll just go tell him for you, so that you don't have to. No, I ain't going to do this triangulation business, because triangulation leads to strangulation, okay? And we're just going to get choking out here. So if you think there might be a problem, go ask. There might not be a problem. And someone else might think there's a problem, but it's not a problem. So don't do that. Here's the other thing, Matthew 18. If you have the problem and there is a problem, you're supposed to go to that person first, one-on-one. Say, here's the problem. Now make sure that you're not the problem, okay? This is what's the problem with church hopping. People don't solve problems. The only thing that you do when you go somewhere else with your problem from a church is all you're doing is making it easier for the church you just left, because you're taking your problem with you. Oh my gosh, Pastor Mark's really getting raw today, isn't he? But you know what? Someone needs to say it, so I'll say it. 30 years of ministry, it's just time. So here's the thing. If it says in Matthew 18, if you have something against your brother, you need to go talk to him. And if that doesn't get you anywhere, then take a couple witnesses. But you know what? They might bring a couple witnesses too. Or your witnesses might say, don't bring people that, by the way, that are going to back your story. Because you might find that, oh, well, wait a minute, I didn't think about that. Here's what it boils down to, people. It's about reconciliation. It's about reconciliation. It's about us trying to work through our problems like adults, instead of playing these little games that we shouldn't be playing in the church, that we should be saying, you know what, that really hurt when you said that. Okay, well, I didn't mean it that way. I get why you would have taken it that way. Here's what I meant. Whatever. There's things that I'm going to tell you right now. I know what I mean. They don't always come out the way that I mean them. And if you know me at all, then you might want to just say, I know Pastor better than that. I don't think he meant that the way it came out. Maybe I should just go ask him, did you mean it this way, Pastor? And by the way, here's something else you just need to understand. The pastor's not always the one who's wrong. The pastor's not always the one who's wrong. You say, well, yeah, pastor. It's got to be the pastor. No, not always. Not always. Not going to say that your pastor's not wrong sometimes because they're human. But there might be a good chance you're wrong. Now, I know it's a long shot here. But it could be. I'm just saying. You might want to look around the potpourri there a little bit and see what you find. Because you might find that, maybe that stench you smell isn't the pastor or someone else. Ooh. It could be that rotten attitude you have. Just saying. Just saying. Here's the one thing we do have to do for reconciliation to happen. We need grace. We need a lot of grace. People lash out. These days we're living in, there's a lot of stress and tension going on. There's a lot of stress on your pastor. Have a little grace for them. They're trying to figure this little dance out of how to pastor and how to do all this stuff. And, I've had to learn how to do technology, and I don't do it well, but I'm getting there. It can be pretty stressful. And a lot of people are under a lot of stress. There's stuff going on. So maybe we just, offer each other a lot of grace and say, you know what, I bet you they didn't mean it that way, but how about I just go ask, hey, here's how it sounded to me. My wife and I have had to learn to do this. We'll ask this little question after one of us says something. Tell me what you heard. Well, I heard you say that I'm the worst husband in the world. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this incident, this was hurtful to me. Oh, okay, now I get it. Yeah. Because we have our filters that we push things through. And are we defensive? We see it in theological study. Down here at Drash Ministries, there's different theological perspectives. In Essentials Unity, Philip Melanchthon, I think, said this. I've said it enough times that I could say Mark Hansen said it, but in Essentials Unity and non-essentials liberty, but in all things charity and all things love. Maybe we should try that. Maybe we should try that. And, Paul says, speaking the truth in love. Here's the thing. A lot of people speak the truth, but they don't do it in love. They do it to be right. And maybe you ain't right. Maybe you are the one who's actually wrong. Maybe there's some things we could learn from each other if we would just quit thinking we got to be right. Yeah, but aren't we told to be righteous and we got to be right? Yeah. You know what? Write your theology with a pencil with a very, very big eraser. Because you're going to spend the rest of your life figuring out God. Theology is looking at things through God's perspective, and you ain't God, so you don't have it all down yet. You still are going to have to look at a few things. Just say, God, what do I do with that? Are you trying to tell me something here? Is there something I need to change? So here's the deal. I really need to change this from chasing the wind to here's the deal. But anyway, that's all right. Maybe that's a whole nother channel, whatever you call these things. But here is the deal. We need to start being Christians and saying, wait a minute here, we may not still agree, but to sit down and say, let's talk about it. We might find some areas we do agree, but how we approach things. So I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to let the Holy Spirit do the rest of the work on you because Lord knows you need it. No, I'm just joking on that one. Actually, we all need it. So keep chasing the wind, wind chasers, because the wind is chasing you. Until next time, I'm Pastor Mark. Grace and peace to you.